Welcome to this week's edition of World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley reporting from Washington, D.C. with another very full and rich program for you today. Let's go immediately to the mass strike front. This is, after all, World Crisis Radio, your mass strike headquarters, and we are headed now into a hot autumn with all of the opportunities and dangers that this implies. We've got the backdrop of the Halloween season. Prince Charles has revealed that he is a descendant of Vlad Dracula, the Impaler. So all of our worst suspicions have been confirmed about the British royal family. So the ghouls are everywhere, the austerity ghouls, the 12 tyrants, the Wall Street bankers, and their frontmen, the reactionaries, and I'm afraid the libertarians, too, because that's what they turn out to be. When push comes to shove, they're out there preaching the sanctity of debt. Don't you dare touch the debt. Don't you dare cancel debt. Even the Eurogarchs and Eurocrats have engineered a 50% haircut on the Greek debt for private banks. It's very limited. It's much too small. But at least they conceded the principle. Human society, human civilization takes precedent over the debt. Now, let's look at the events of this past week. Tuesday, October 25th, a big day. We had been agitating, along with many others, for weeks to get programmatic content, fighting working-class demands into the otherwise nondescript programmatic void of Occupy Wall Street, providing program absolute priority. And, of course, we'd run into the stubborn, bitter sabotage resistance of ad busters, the anarchist facilitators, the creepy facilitators in many cases, who were trying to impose their Procrustean bed, their anarchist straitjacket on the movement, that there could be no demands. They were not against this demand or that demand. They were against all demands. Because, of course, if you have demands, you might be co-opted. In other words, you might win your demands. That's what they mean by that. If you make demands, you might win one. And that, of course, we couldn't have that, could we? Soros wouldn't like that. And the left wing of finance capital. So a lot of pressure concentrated, as we've been hearing through direct reports from Wall Street in New York City. A lot of pressure on ad busters. A lot of pressure on this guy, Kalle Lasn, K-A-L-L-E-L-A-S-N, this guy from the Baltic states. Strange character. Wonder what his political coloration really is. His associate, Mr. Schmaltz. And we've also got now a big article this week, which we'll talk about later if we get a chance, and that's David Graeber, another mind bender. This is an anthropologist who profiles you. This is exactly like Obama. This is exactly the foundation-funded world of anthropologists who are counterinsurgency agents, just like Stanley Ann Dunham, the mother of the current tenant of the White House. So we'll hear about him in a minute. But this clique of anarchists who have, with the help undoubtedly of financing from certain groups of foundations, attempted to sabotage all demands. But by October 25th, the public pressure from the mobilized masses had become so great that on Tuesday, October 25th, the ad busters people said, all right, in response to our critics and given the maturity of the movement, take a look at the article they put up on their ad busters website. In response to our critics, we are coming out for one program point, and it's the Robin Hood tax, as they call it. Robin Hood tax, of course, phraseology dripping with anarchism and so forth. But the key thing was a 1% tax. Now, just to make it clear, this is the Wall Street sales tax. It's a Wall Street turnover tax. It's a sales tax. It's not levied on profits. It's levied on buying and selling, like the sales tax you pay whenever you buy anything, including food, groceries, in many states. So you know, you should know, what a sales tax is. The point is that Wall Street, with their quadrillions, their thousands of trillions of dollars, their millions of billions of dollars in turnover, they pay nothing. They pay no sales tax. We want a 1% sales tax. Now, I take it as a personal tribute that they caved to the point of saying a 1% transfer tax, turnover tax, Tobin tax, Wall Street sales tax, or if you must, Robin Hood tax. 1% is my signature amount. So I guess I'm going to claim some credit for forcing these anarchists to cave and inject minimum but critical programmatic content. Now, this is not yet a recovery program, but it's the leading edge. It embodies the principle that we're going to shift the cost of the Depression off the backs of working people. We're going to maintain the social safety net, and we're going to shift that onto the banks. Now, obviously, this needs to be backed up with other demands. We'll get to that in a minute. However, this was a big breakthrough. What happened within 12 hours of that announcement? Police repression comes down. You've got to see the sequence of events. We're talking cause and effect. We must have the ability to observe what is actually happening in front of our noses. On the morning of October 25th, Tuesday, the Adbusters people say, all right, in response to our critics, 1% Wall Street sales tax. Within 12 hours, the police attack in Atlanta. The police attack in Oakland. The police attack in Baltimore. The police then, within 48 to 72 hours, attack in Nashville and other places. This is because once you have that demand, you are a threat. Without the demand, Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street, is a sociological or anthropological curiosity, which this character, David Graeber, can study and manipulate, right, which is what they do, anthropologists being what they are. You become ethnographic material. But when you have a fighting class-based demand, which is the Wall Street sales tax, immediately intelligible, understandable to very, very broad masses, hit them in the labanza, hit them where it hurts, make them pay. They caused the Depression. They're trying to gouge our entitlements and our economic rights. Turn the tables on them. Make them pay. Anybody can understand that. And again, all the more so if you then say what that money is going to go for. This is also indispensable. It goes to the federal treasury, and it's split with the states. So it means there will be no cuts. No cuts. Are you listening, 12 tyrants of the Congressional Super Committee? No cuts in the economic rights of the American people. No cuts in entitlement. For children, we want S-CHIP, Head Start, WIC. For people in general, we want food stamps. 46 million Americans depend on them. We want unemployment benefits for unlimited periods. 99ers, 199ers, 299ers, doesn't matter. Unemployment benefits will be paid, and Wall Street will foot the bill. There's also the question of the student loan amnesty. The part of that that's guaranteed by the federal government will also be paid because Wall Street will cough up the money. And whatever funding has to come out of the seizure of the ceasing of foreclosures also. So all of this happened on Tuesday, October 25th. It is a turning point. You make the demands, you become a real threat to financier rule. And we can say this with a great deal of confidence. A lot of people, unfortunately, are extremely confused about this. Some people say, oh, it's a globalist trap. The Wall Street sales tax is a globalist trap. Let's just take a look and see what the fronts are. It's true. The stars are aligned. This is called winning. Many people have been down so long they don't know what up looks like. This is the winning. Winning is when massive chunks of the finance oligarch, when their machine is split. In other words, you're breaking off chunks of their machine and you're forcing it to raise these demands. Right now, who wants the Wall Street sales tax, Tobin tax as you may call it? France, Germany, European Union, Vatican. Some people say, oh my God, I'm having a crisis. No, that's called winning. The AFL-CIO, don't worry about it. National Nurses United, yes. The stars are aligned for the Wall Street sales tax. Now mobilize and make it a reality. We'll have more in a few minutes. Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Follow this all at Tarpley.net, Tarpley.net. Many new items, many TV appearances, all kinds, radio appearances coming at a fairly sustained rhythm. On Tuesday, October 25th, the Adbusters facilitators, otherwise known as wreckers, were forced, the honchos over there at Adbusters, the anarchists who think they own this movement, they were forced by mass pressure, mass mobilization by you, in many cases, by leaflets that have gone out in New York City, in Portland, in San Francisco, and elsewhere. They were forced to embrace one important demand. It is the 1% Wall Street sales tax, which they want to call the Robin Hood tax, to make it more unpalatable and more unlikely to succeed, because they never give up on sabotage. But this much they were forced to do. They declared that Saturday, the 29th of October, was a worldwide day of action in favor of the Wall Street sales tax, Tobin tax, financial transfer tax, turnover tax, or if you must, Robin Hood tax. So that's a big plus. However, at the moment that they did this, instead of becoming some quaint curiosity that the liberal prostitutes could gush over, they became a real threat to ruling class power. And how did the ruling class respond? They called in the police. Repression is unleashed in Atlanta, Oakland, Baltimore, Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm sure other places. That's the turning point. Now learn the lesson. It's time to escalate strategically. Strategic escalation means program, demands, revolutionary, transitional, or radical reformist demands. That's sort of you engage and then you find out what it's going to turn out to be. The stars are aligned for the Wall Street sales tax. France, Germany, Vatican, AFL-CIO, National Nurses United, the best U.S. union, the most militant, the smartest, the European Union. Who's against the Wall Street sales tax? Just the centers of absolute evil. Let's start with the City of London, Cameron, Osborne, the city. Let's start with Wall Street itself. They're foaming at the mouth with rage at the Wall Street sales tax. Obama, Geithner, Hillary, they've all been trying to sabotage even the very timid and perverted version of this that the European Union has been offering. And again, let's make it clear, a lot of people are very pedantic and they want to sit at home and say, no, I don't like that version because that goes where I don't want it to go. Get out there and fight. If you don't like the enemy's version, get out there with your own version. Hegemonize. This is a battle now for hegemony in the mass strike. So if you have your version of the Wall Street sales tax, say, yes, it goes to the Treasury and to the states to maintain the social safety net, to finance the student loan amnesty, to finance the freeze on foreclosures, and so forth. And remember, it even came up inside the Obama White House in the unlikely form of this guy Orshag. He probably wanted as a kind of political cover, saying, gee, can we really ask the American people to give up all of these austerity concessions and not lay a glove on Wall Street? Shouldn't we have some tiny, minute, symbolic Wall Street sales tax? And Summers exploded. Larry Summers, the gangster president of Harvard, the misogynist, we know all about him. He exploded saying, this is evil. This is absolute evil. Well, I'm sorry. That's class struggle in a rather naked form. So what we're running here is class defense. So if the main centers, the centers of absolute evil in the form of finance capital, speculation, parasitism, and the manipulation of the world, City of London and Wall Street, Obama, Geithner, Hillary, Cameron, Osborne, if they're so dead set against it, wouldn't it be time, dear libertarians, to give it a second look? And again, look at those fronts. This one you might even win. It's winnable, absolutely winnable. Even Barroso, this character, you know what I think of him. It's not printable. But there he is. The point is, evil has to be made to do good. Play evil against evil to decrease the amount of evil. Man meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. It is a Leibnizian universe after all. So therefore, we want to escalate strategically. Now, the answer of the ruling class, of course, is repression. And we have this outrageous and illegal and criminal outburst by the, what can we call her? The mayor of Oakland, I guess is what we'll have to call her, Kwan. She sends in her police, and we have the very serious injury of Scott Olson, the former Marine. Now, we want to protest this. The way to protest it is to win your demands, to have demands and win your demands. You can't have a strike without demands. Otherwise, when does the strike win anything? Frederick Douglass, power concedes nothing without a demand. So the sacrifice of Scott Olson, who we hope will be okay, is based on actually making the reforms in this society that will allow it to survive. That's what I think Scott Olson is really interested in. We've also got Mayor Reed.